Welcome back to the Mxedberries podcast. Today I'm joined with Artnel, Mda and Mo, and we did want to discuss a few things that we've seen online. But before we do get into that, how is everyone?
Yeah, I'm all good, man. I'm all
I was waiting for the pause.
good.
Yeah, I'm not too
Surviving.
bad. How are you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. I mean, it still feels like we've been in lockdown for about 6-7 months.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a bit nuts right now.
yeah.
Not gonna lie, man, was meant to be in Afro Nation doing my thing, but it's
I
what
think
it is.
any kind of like social gathering like that is just locked off for a very long time.
I don't even know whether they'll be running next year, to be honest.
Did you
You
get
know-
a refund?
No refund.
I think you would.
They said that I can go next year though.
I remember everyone getting onto the guy that organised the whole thing. Because that guy's just there tweeting about our life and blessings, and everyone's like, where's my refund?
Yeah.
Well, the last thing I want to talk about is refunds, man. I've been waiting for a refund from TUI since May.
Serious.
Yeah, for a holiday.
What, they're running back the peas.
They tried contacting me about like 2 times, but because I couldn't answer the phone at that time, they just thought, forget it, we'll just send a check. And they said that like 3 weeks ago.
Boy, there's either someone at Royal Mail eating very good right now.
Someone done that Kante interception.
Yeah.
Right, if that happened, I'd be so mad. I'd be so mad. But yeah, every day I wake up, go downstairs, look at the letterbox, see if anything's come through the post.
Every day.
You know what it is? My man's already spent that money on something else mentally. You're just gonna have to use that as a PS5 deposit now, or something like that.
We see when you're talking like money like that, you're talking bags. For people our age, that's a big thing.
Yeah, it's true. It's
So
true, man.
roughly how much was it? You don't have to say specifically.
Just over 2 bags.
Bruh, is
Ooh,
that you now?
Dripper.
But yeah, but that I'm talking, that took some vigorous saving, man.
I hear that.
Yeah, because
And what, that like a 2-week trip? Because if that was a week, then I'm gonna get angry.
Oh no, definitely 2-week trip, and it was going to be our last big holiday before the missus was not going to be able to go on holidays in the off-season times because she's going to be a primary school teacher.
Oh, I hear that. Yeah, so holidays are gonna be pretty expensive for you guys in the future.
Exactly.
For real. I was seeing something the other day, just like in regards to like people our age and that. Well, I saw it today actually, bare people sharing it, and it said to my 23 to 28-year-olds, you've reached the age where people around you are starting to give up on themselves because they think it's too late. I just want to know, what do you men think about that?
Is that in regards to finance?
I reckon just in general, like I feel like a lot of people our generation feel like there's just been no support for them, especially during this corona situation. We've been kind of thrown to the bottom of the pile, man.
I think it depends on how you look at it. I mean, if we're talking financially, I think everyone in that generation is set up to fail at the moment or struggle because you have these big companies, and this is quite a common theme as well on LinkedIn, for example. You have these big companies that are looking for people to join their company, but are asking for extensive experience. You know, these are entry-level jobs.
Yeah, it's
I
true.
mean, someone at the age of 23, what experience do they have? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
Financially, I do feel like that does have a bit of a foot in the ground in regards to that saying.
I think that whole post was meant to be like financially wise, like people in that age group feel like there's too much pressure, or they're thinking and they're in a situation where it's just too standstill. So they're putting pressure on themselves to have everything together, but just because they see like a musician, 21-year-old, that's getting 1 million, or footballer, they think that it has to be like that for them.
Yeah,
Some of these CEOs or whatever, or these guys on six figures, they only started maybe making money, a lot of them, over 30 when they got their first big break. So
mm,
it depends situation to situation for everyone, innit?
So do you think it's the lifestyle that's glamorized nowadays is being able to make it big at such a young age, and it's so accessible to see other people have that kind of life that people put pressure on themselves?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But that's the thing. There's the two sides to social media, innit? You'll see everyone that's doing well, which even if you try to tell yourself, it shouldn't affect me or this, that, everyone
yeah,
still feels it deep down. So every year that goes past, they're thinking, I should be making this much money, I should be doing this. But
yeah.
every situation
It's
is
true.
different.
Off the top of you, man's head, Ben, is there any person you follow on Instagram, you might not even follow, but you just check their page every now and then? Is there any person who you think keeps it real?
I
In terms,
personally, I don't really check Instagram like that. I don't really look up on other people's situations and stuff like that. I look at like celebrity stuff in regards to like football players.
yeah. But even them, do you think they display both sides of them training or putting in the work? A lot of them lots, their social media is controlled by PR agencies and that, so it's a bit different. But in terms of like actual people who show the realism of what's going on in their life, even though he's a bit of a nut, I would have to say Kanye West.
Oi.
With him, because he's so under the spotlight, he's renowned for being a bit abrasive or speaking his mind that not everyone would agree with.
Mm,
But because he's so under the spotlight, there's still so much that people don't know about him. He only lets you see what he wants you to see.
yeah, it's true.
The thing with him is, though, he might have some wild opinions, but when he says stuff, I kind of find it weird when everyone just says, he's mentally ill straight away. Like,
What was
I
in
feel like he's just being
diagnosing him?
honest, man.
yeah, they're just saying, get him to a hospital, this, that, just because he
Yeah.
said a few things. Like, you don't know his situation. How can you
Mm,
say my man's mentally ill?
yeah, it's true. Like I feel like he's just being honest, and I feel like because all the other celebrities online are displaying such
Exactly,
a
they
sick
filter their
lifestyle.
stuff, and
Yeah,
they don't say what's actually on their mind, innit? So
yeah. Like I feel like when celebrities do actually want to speak out, they feel quite alone. Like they don't get the interaction, they don't get the same views that they would normally do. Like when they're doing something which is actually close to heart, they're not doing the same figures, and maybe that's just because people are just attracted to negativity.
I mean, going back to the quote that you mentioned before, Artnel, in regards to the 23 to 28-year-olds, people feel like they're starting to give up.
Mm.
Do you think it's a common theme that people that age feel like life ends at the age of 30? Like they have to have already been accomplished by the age of 30?
thing is,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to be accomplished by 30.
Well, when you say give up, what do you mean by give up? Like just settle for like a standard job, or what does that mean?
I think it just stop the ambitions, basically.
Mm.
But
What?
you know what? The goalposts always change in it. Like when you're 18 and 17 in college, you're thinking, yeah, my life needs to be together by 25.
Yeah,
Next thing you
it's
know,
true.
two years have passed, but it's not actually 2 years, it's 6 years. Now you're 24,
Yeah,
and now you're saying that your life has to be together by 30, and you should be married, kids, six-figure
yeah,
salary. Next thing you know, you're gonna be 28, thinking, you know what? Yeah, stuttering again.
yeah.
So don't give it
Man, just
a
move it to 35. Yeah, I'm good till 35.
time. But like, it's also like the same way people that so students, So there's some people that go university late in it that maybe might start at first year at 21, this, that, and then they're getting upset because they're going to graduate at 24, while everyone else is graduating at 21. So they're telling themselves they're 3 years behind. This guy on my course was 55 years old once, man, sitting at the front answering every question, man.
Shout him out.
Deep. It's not. This is really.
I had a guy like that as well. I used to wear snapback every day because he was bald. But he was over 50, way over 50. I was pretty sure he was about 65, had grandkids and everything. But
for example, if someone like Jamie Vardy adopted that quote that you just said, was what, 22 or 23, and said to himself, yeah, I'm still playing for Fleetwood. Yeah, it's not gonna run. This, that. It's too late for me. What would happen if he thought like that now? You never know when your break's gonna come, man.
Yeah, it's true. There'd be no Jamie Vardy. I know there'd be no KFC because Colonel didn't start until he was like 45 or something. Like, it's mad. There's a lot of people, I think, by 30, they think it's over. And I'm probably one of them as well. I'm not even going to lie. But on
the other side of that, don't you think these are only a select few individuals?
What, do you think their life's going to be over by 30?
No, that have found success at a late stage in their life.
You know what? There's quite a lot of truth to that. I don't want to dishearten anyone, but I think it's just about having them wills and motion to knowing what you're going to do. I think by 30, if you haven't decided what you're going to do, it's not game over for you. There's always still you've got a lot of life left in you, you know what I mean? But the way that people would perceive you, they're not going to give you a chance as much as they would give a 23 or 22-year-old a chance. You know what I mean?
Do you know what I think it is? When you're younger and you're at that age, you don't have all them responsibilities. If you've got a family and kids, can you really be taking the same risks as an 18, 19-year-old, like financially, where if they do go broke or something, it's not the end of the world. But if you got, kids to feed and stuff, it's a bit different.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, it's true, because the top end of that, the 28, is childbearing age. You know what I mean? Even from 25, like, a lot of people start having children. So
I wouldn't even just say it's just children. It's having responsibilities and like say for one person, it might not be that they have children that they need to look after. It might be they've got a mortgage to pay. They can't afford to take time out from their work to go and do something that they've always wanted to do and risk it not being as successful as they want it to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So do you think the system then is designed for us to be deflated by the time we hit 30, just so that we just plod along? You know what I mean? Just pay our taxes and just do what we're meant to do.
It's a funny one, man, because imagine when you're say, for example, you're 20 or 21 and you have like a business idea or whatever, you'll have the time and you have the time to make mistakes and take risks, but you don't have the money.
Yeah.
But then when you're 30, you have the money, but you can't take risks. You got 3 kids at home and a wife, a mortgage, a car to pay off, all of that stuff. You ain't got time, and you can't make mistakes.
What's really interesting is with everything that's happened in the world now, with lockdown and the pandemic, who would you say has suffered more? Would it be the people that are between the ages of 23 to 28, or people that are over the age of 30?
Ooh,
that's a good question.
I think immediately the older people. I think the short-term effects, the older people definitely, because with all the job losses and stuff like that, I think it's going to hit them a bit harder. But in the long run, I think they'll recover. But for the younger lots, it's going to be harder to get back on your feet.
Imagine the people graduating this summer or next summer.
Yeah, imagine graduating online. I want all my P's back.
It's not even that. Like, trying to find a job. as
Yeah.
no experience, I was already difficult. But right now,
Mm.
That's what I mean. It's a lot harder, and not only that, not even people that have just come out of further education looking for a job. You've got people that need to do another year or were depending on a scholarship to fund their next year. But with everything that's happened,
They can't even work to save the money.
exactly. So who really does have it worse off? With being at the age of 30 and over, you might get furloughed, you might be basically you might lose your job.
Mm.
But then
saying that like it's light.
What
no,
about the
no, of
mortgage?
course it's definitely not. It's definitely not. But you have, for example, with mortgage companies, you have a 3-month payment holiday break with the possibility to extend it. Now that is a short-term negative, but then they can bring it back on track, if that makes sense. They can go out, find another job because they've got that experience. Whereas compared to someone that's just come out of further education, no experience, we're relying on scholarships and such, does that not make it more difficult for them?
You know what? I think with that, it depends on what salary bracket you're kind of aiming for, because the funny thing is, I think it was Pretty Patel. She said for anyone who earns under 25,000 is an unskilled worker, basically. So they wouldn't be looking to get people from outside of the UK to work jobs for under 25 grand. But if you look at the jobs which people are doing for below that salary bracket, those people are actually very skilled at what they do, and they're quite specialists. It's just that the employers decide to underpay them. So what you're going to have is quite a lot of skilled people who are looking to take a salary cut just so that they can get into employment. And then you're going to get a lot of people who are just entering the job market, taking the low salary job just because they want to get their foot in the door. So you're actually going to be competing with people with a lot of experience now. And you're also going to be competing with people who are fresh out of uni with no experience but are eager to learn. So now, for employers' point of view and for a recruitment point of view, they're actually having the best days of their life because they've got a whole bunch of people, like they've got dozens of people to pick from now.
It's very saturated, yeah.
Yeah, very saturated, and they don't have to worry about filling the job. There's no such thing as really headhunting people because people will come to you because of the way the economy is. So it makes it just a bit harder for, I would say, for the younger generation, because those people who should be earning a lot more than they're currently earning are happy to take the pay cut just to be in a job, which I can't really hate them for doing that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, people with a lot of experience are applying to mid/entry level jobs as well, just so they can get anything in the meantime. There's hardly any jobs out there, and I'm looking at like some jobs when I'm just browsing and I'm seeing 300 applicants and the job was posted like 3 hours ago. I'm just thinking, boy, and it says entry level.
Everyone's got the notifications on. I mean, I was having that problem last year where there was one interview I went to, and then they got back to me a few weeks later. I didn't get the job, and they were saying we've given it to someone else. He's got more experience than you. He's 28 years old, and I was 22, and you can't compete with that. And that was before lockdown, so now it is going to be a lot harder.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's really bad that jobs actually come back and say that to people, though, because
they knew innit? They knew how much experience you had.
Yeah, exactly. So going back to even that quote, those people who are between the age of 23 and 28 and just kind of, they might be fresh out of uni, or they might have done an apprenticeship or anything, or along the lines of that, or they could have been working before and they decided that they wanted to go into something a bit more professional and skilled. But those people entering the job market are going to be constantly disheartened by, oh, you haven't got enough experience. Then why shortlist me? You know what I mean? I'd rather them say that, oh, we didn't feel that you suited the job quite as much as we thought you would, sort of thing, or we felt that someone else was just a bit stronger in certain attributes which were related to the role, not in regards to my experience, which I've already put on my CV and you've read and you've decided that you still want me to come in. Like it's a bit useless really in that sense.
Yeah, the way they advertise it as an entry level role, but it's that's just so they can justify putting a lower salary, I think.
Yeah. So what would be interesting to know is that person who they did take with more experience, are they now going to offer him more money?
I noticed
Yeah.
job descriptions are changing now though. Like they'll say, between 3 and 6 years experience,
Mm.
and then they won't put the salary on the thing. So basically, anyone that has like 6, 7 years will think, you know what, yeah, this salary might be what I'm looking for. And then there'll
Yeah.
be someone with 2 years experience, I think, you know what, I know they asked for 3, but give them 2, or someone with 3 years apply, but they just want to rack up as many applications as they can.
Yeah.
And in the end, they'll choose the person with the most experience because
Yeah.
they can't say no to experience. Put it that way,
So you
even if
got
they feel like the other one's better.
you got to think, are they really recruiting the right person now, or are they just recruiting the person who's the most cost efficient for that position?
Wouldn't you say someone with extensive experience is not as cost efficient as someone with low experience?
Yeah, exactly. So it kind of depends on whether how low that person with experience is willing to drop his guard. You know what I mean? If he's going in there expecting a certain amount and he's hearing $5 less and he's taking it, then he's just dropping the market. He's basically fucking up the market for everyone.
But wouldn't that be a lot of 23 to 28-year-olds who've just come out of further education? They're going to take the first job that snaps them up.
Oh, those lot ain't the problem because they will always gain more from the job than that job offers them in salary. Like what they earn in salary will not build mountains, probably won't even buy them a house, might just get them a car depending on their credit history. Like, you know what I mean? Like the salary that they're getting is not going to be able to do much more than to live off. But the person who's older taking that type of pay cut is the person really kind of damaging the market a lot more because they're meant to be at a certain standard. They're meant to set the bar high for the younger ones coming in. So someone coming into the market accepting 25k when he should be taking 30k is only now going to push the junior's position down to maybe 20k or even 18,000 just because they've got to justify everyone's paying that position because people do chat in the office. That's the thing. Even though everyone's got a different salary, everyone does chat and everyone knows pretty much what everyone's on. So you can't have a discrepancy where the junior's on more money than the manager because that just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, but then that's a win for the company anyway, because
Yeah.
everyone's just lowering their expectations. And the thing is, no one's gonna say no to the job. Like really, the person with 5 years experience shouldn't be accepting the 25 grand, but they will because of the situation we're all in. And that's just gonna have a knock-on effect to everyone. So the next time they're hiring someone, even after the pandemic, they're gonna be looking at,
I've got a really difficult question. It would be very difficult to answer, but with how everything has been affected, so we're talking about jobs and people that are affected by jobs and such, and the economy, basically. Not that we know much about it. What do you reckon could be a possible solution to help, one, get things back on track, or to make things better than they used to be? So I'm talking about in regards to people struggling to find jobs when they leave further education. Do you think everything else in the economy needs to lower its inflation to match whatever wages everyone is on at the moment? Or do you think wages and stuff like that should increase? And how difficult would that be with all the bailouts the government's been giving everyone?
I feel like in regards to that, a lot of weight's going to be placed on these big companies' shoulders because I know that Primark decided there's a new incentive in at the moment where if companies keep their current employers, they get £1,000 per employer or something along the lines of that. So they get basically the wages get subsidised if they keep on their employees instead of making them redundant or putting them on furlough. And big companies such as Primark have said they're not actually going to accept that £3,000, which they don't need to pay back. It's actually a grant. So it depends on whether those companies decide that they're gonna kind of use their cash liquid that they've got in the bank and actually spend it on trying to rebuild their brand and rebuild jobs for people, or if they're going to kind of strip right back and say, you know what, we had 5 people in that position before, but we've been working with 2, so we're going to keep it as 2. So if those companies decide to keep the same amount of people employed, then I reckon that the economy should recover in time. But if those companies have now decided during COVID-19 that, you know what, we can actually work with limited resources and still run the business quite well, then I reckon that we're going to be in very big trouble come maybe October, December time.
So it does depend on consumer goods, basically, just people spending to bring the economy back. But what's on that note as well, Rishi Sunak has just basically introduced or thought of introducing an online sales tax as well. Did you hear about that?
No.
Oh yeah, so it's encouraging everyone to go shop at high streets because so people will be paying more for the same thing if they wanted to buy online.
I hear that. Well, he's gonna have to have a chat with Jeff Bezos because I really don't know how that's gonna work.
I don't know about that one because people do it for a lot of reasons. It's not just they're lazy and they don't want to go to the high street. Sometimes you just can't find stuff in these shops. Sometimes you might not be able to leave the house for whatever reason. You might, I don't know, people with disabilities.
Some people are like, like some people can't even get out of their house, man. Some people are vulnerable. What, they're gonna make
if you're working as well, like if you're going into work, you're going 9 to 5. Those are the hours of when shops are open. When are you gonna get a chance? Weekends. It just, you know, I don't think it's a good idea.
And surely, if they want people social distancing, they don't want everyone running around in shops that much. Like, and if it, in terms of like clothing shops, like why would you actually go in store, like when they have like 3 different pairs of jeans only and 2 t-shirts? I could never ever find what I want to buy unless I'm going Primark for t-shirts and boxes. Yeah, so I don't think I ever shop.
Would you say it's a necessary risk to do that, to drive the economy up, basically, with the introduction of the sales tax?
How did they give like any figures on the tax, or?
I think it was. Did you say 2%? I don't know if I'm just putting this out of nowhere, but I saw 2% somewhere. I don't know how accurate
I have no
that is.
idea. I have no idea, but all I'm saying is, so all these companies are receiving what? Oh, you're receiving £1,000 for keeping your furloughed staff, bringing them back into work.
That incentive is so shit, by the way. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think it's nowhere near enough.
They want someone to be paying the wages of a worker for 6 months, and then after 6 months, you just give them 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, you've also got like the injection of all these funds that the chancellor's basically put into the economy, saying it's a grant. Do you think they just have all this money just stacked aside? Or do you think this is going to come back and bite us all in
Definitely,
the back?
It's scary because especially with the Conservative government, they're going to make everyone pay for this.
Yeah, this is good. Does everything against what they believe in, man. So
yeah, nothing's for free in this world. You know what I mean?
No free lunch.
I think this could be like an endless topic to debate on because there is no right or wrong answer, and it's all just speculation anyway. We don't know how it's going to go, but everyone's going to just look out for themselves, which is the right thing to do.
Yeah, but I feel like it's really bad that if they're trying to encourage people to go out and shop, but the numbers still ain't going down. So what's really happening? I mean, Spain's just gone back into a lockdown. And they're saying that when people come back from being on holiday, as of today, they can't even work from home and class that as quarantine. So people won't be getting paid because employers are being really strict on it. And at the same time, employers are telling people to take their holiday within this year. Otherwise, what we're going to have over the next 2 years is people with like 40 plus days annual leave. And certain companies... Yes.
I think you can only carry over a few days into the next year.
Yeah.
Only-
But the rest they will have to pay you back,
Mm. And which they definitely don't want to do.
which will cost them more. Exactly. I think going back to the original quote that Artnel brought up at the start, would you say there's any kind of word of advice or that you can give to anyone that is in that age bracket that's listening to this? Because
Just keep-
personally, I don't. I mean, I don't think
So you're
there
done
is.
out here.
Do you know what it is? I think you've got to sometimes put aside your pride. You know, don't just do everything for other people. So, and I know this is really generic advice, but you've got to think about yourself. And even if you're gonna do something which to other people might seem like, oh, this guy is that. Why is he doing that? Why has he got a shit car? Why is he still staying at home? You know, be smart. Be smart with your money. Be smart with your time as well, because you know if you're just gonna flex and try doing all of that, you're just gonna be trapped, and you're gonna be stuck.
Yeah, it's true. Because I think what we're quite good at doing, especially in the UK, and I think in America even worse, is kind of pressuring people to do a lot of stuff by 30, living every day like their last. But if you do that for a very long time, your last day will be coming very soon. You know what I mean? Because you'll just burn yourself out. You won't have nothing in your pocket, nothing to your name. And that kind of, it might not even seem like a rock star lifestyle. It might be just Amazon packages, pretty little thing packages coming through every day. But you see, getting all that drip on Klarna and all that stuff, it's going to finish your credit. When you go to apply for a loan or for a mortgage, they're going to be seeing that you're behind on your Klarna payments, which ain't even a necessary expense. It's not food, it's not water.
Yeah.
It's
And
not petrol.
This lockdown situation is something that's just come out of the blue as well. And
so
it can happen anytime.
Yeah, exactly.
You just gotta have a plan, man. You gotta have a plan and work in your own time. Don't let anyone pressure you, man. The age groups 23 to 28 is too. That's the weirdest one, because you really could be doing anything between them age groups.
Yeah.
Don't let someone tell you because you're 26 you should be doing this. Have a plan and work towards it. If it gets delayed, it doesn't matter, man. You're only working for yourself. No one else gives a shit about you, man.
It's true.
The grass is always green on the other side.
Exactly.
No matter what age you are.
No one shows you the problems they're having. You're only seeing the good, so you start beating yourself up about it, you ain't gonna go nowhere.
Yeah.
Tough times never last.
That's a really positive note. So what we'll do is we'll leave it there, and we'll be back with the next episode. Safe.
Alright. It's okay.
Safe.